somebody on a parachute or some kind of wing flying around up there. He might go in front of the sun, and I can't point the camera too much in that direction, but I'm not sure whether he's visible at the moment. Just over the tree there. Well, the road's going to go that way, so he's going to be on the right hand side of the road. I have to turn it off because the camera's in the way. Unfortunately, the sun's in the way of the camera. The guy's up there anyway. I'm not sure whether it's going to be visible. He's right over me now. Maybe I'll get him on this side. Oh, he's up there. I don't know if I can see him up there. Somewhere up there. It's not easy to film that and drive at the same time. You can't see this on the camera as well as you can see it with the naked eye because of the ability to focus exactly where you want to be, but sunset's actually quite pretty with the sun, the golden sun glinting through the trees that still don't have any leaves on them, even though it's nearly halfway through April. In a couple of weeks' time the leaves will be everywhere, but here the grass is already green again, but the leaves haven't come onto the trees. The effects of winter have been quite long here in Poland. Of course, in England all the trees are already in leaf and many flowers are out, especially daffodils, a sign of rural England, an icon as immortalised in Wordsworth. Wordsworth's poem. Oh, fire! Wordsworth's poem, "I wandered lonely as a cloud," which is all about the daffodils. I won't quote it because I haven't learned it, but one thing that's worth commenting on as we drive towards the sunset is that the gold list system, in theory, could also be used for memorizing poetry. You'd put a verse on each line of the gold list, and then just as you remembered the verse, the particular line, you would be able to either reduce it just to the first letters of the words and then mix it into the next line, or lead it into the next line as you distilled it, or leave it out altogether and just leave in the verses that you couldn't remember, or the lines of the verse that you couldn't remember, until you'd basically remembered the whole poem. That's something. Then you could put it through the same basic rules as the rest of the gold list. It might be worth trying to learn something that way, a long poem, see if it actually works out well doing it that way. which I don't know whether it's going to show up very well, but you can see the sky. There's crisscross, there's two sort of like X's over the sun there of chemtrails, or what the internet calls chemtrails. They say that if there's two aeroplanes cross over and make X's in the sky, and especially if they don't go away in a few minutes but just hang there, getting bigger and gradually lowering in height, then that means it's chemtrails and not normally the normal steam coming off the back end of a jet engine. Well, it's difficult to say, isn't it? This atmospheric conditions play an awful lot. I mean, you can see the same atmospheric conditions which are causing the steam up there to hang is also causing the smoke from these smoke fires to hang, which normally wouldn't hang like that in the air. So it's all about atmospheric conditions that happen to be at the time. If there is a low relative humidity and a bit more wind, then obviously you'll get a jet engine trail will dissipate quickly. Whereas if you don't have much wind and you've got quite a high relative humidity, then there's nothing to make them evaporate or dissipate. And so they're going to hang there, and they're going to hang there for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. So, and it's nothing to do with any content that there might be in it. But if you just read certain things on the internet and don't take them a little bit critically, then you could start thinking that you are being poisoned at every juncture. In and of itself, the sunset ahead is very pretty. To say that there's chemicals in the sky is almost sort of self-evident. I mean, human activity has pumped up an awful lot of chemicals into the sky. What the sunset would look like if there was not a human being on the planet, or never been a human being on the planet, what the sunset would look like at this point in time is anybody's guess. We don't have anything to compare it with, as it were, so we just have to assume that it's still fairly natural.